I don't know, man. I'm trying to think of who would go see Cats instead of Star Wars. Like, I don't know. And if you
like
show up to
theater heads, it's gonna make a lot of money. I know that.
I mean, yeah, okay, but I'm thinking the people that show up, like the ignorant parents that are just like, we'll be able to get into the Star Wars, like it'll be fine, like no.
And then their kids are forced to go to see Cats instead.
Yeah. Yeah,
but
and the
maybe
kids
they
are just
fall
like,
in
this
love
is
with
just
it and
as
become
good.
Theater kids. This is the origin story of about a bunch of theater kids whose parents couldn't preserve tickets to Star Wars. Oh my god.
What is it? You either die a nerd or you live long enough to see yourself become a theater kid.
Theater kid. Yeah.
I'm proud of myself.
Yeah,
that was good. It took me too long though. God.
Oh god.
Yeah, I don't know. I keep. Wait, have you seen all the reactions to Star Wars? I don't want to like curse it, but also like the cast reactions to like, yeah. So is it good? I
haven't seen that now.
Like I think it's the same people that are trying to do like that. When Game of Thrones didn't do well, and they had like the cast reactions and like it was like Emilia Clarke specifically just being like,
yeah, best season ever. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, it kind of gave off those vibes, but I'm also just like, well, they can't talk about it. And like, I feel like
that's the thing. I don't think you're extrapolating a lot by assuming that that's like their actual, like anything they say about it ahead of time is their actual opinion on it. You know?
Yeah, like it's still promotion status, so it's like I get that they need to like the fact that we would have talked about Star Wars regardless, but like the fact that I'm talking about this specifically, like I get that like a publicist is probably like yes, like I don't know.
Yeah,
I want to be hype. I want to be more hyped for it, but I'm also realizing like, yo, I was not along for this ride from the beginning, and this is very much for the people that have been. So
you see, that's what they're trying to make it seem like. But as someone who has been along there, not since the beginning, but at least since childhood, like it doesn't
Star Wars
feel
has been along with
like,
me from the beginning.
Right,
It has not been along with me.
I get that.
Like,
but what I'm saying is like they keep going like the saga's coming to an end. I'm like that's what they said in 2005, and at least this time we actually know there's movies coming later, and 5 billion TV shows, including one that's ongoing. Like I'm still excited for the movie. Don't get me wrong. I'm very excited for the movie, more so than I was before. Like more so than I was a year ago. Like now that all the trailers are out and like the Mandalorian is good and everything, but it doesn't feel like Endgame. Everyone's like, this is Star Wars' Endgame, and I'm like, it's not. It's really not.
Okay, because I feel like all the marketing has been pointing to that, and I'm just like, is this actually like?
I think they're trying to make it seem that way, but it's like. No, like the saga was over with the first 3, and then the saga was over again with the second 3, but it felt like it was maybe more over because, you know, they had 4, 5, and 6, and they added 1, 2, and 3. But these ones feel, and this is not necessarily even an insult, but they do feel tacked on. Like, you could watch 1 through 6 and be done.
Done. Yeah, I feel that. I mean,
so it just doesn't feel like it's just less special, I guess, but not necessarily meaning less good. I don't know. I mean, I've liked what Disney's done with Star Wars. It hasn't been like all A pluses, but it's, you know, I think it's been about as good as what Star Wars was before, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Going back, like I've been watching Clone Wars recently, just out of like
good.
Like, especially as I was still trying to grind through Pokemon, like, just having that on in the background and, like, getting distracted by whatever's going on whatever screen. But, like, Clone Wars, like, you told me it was really good. I'd heard it was really good. It's some good shit. That show is some good shit. Like,
and it's crazy because I don't really like the animation style, and there's so much stuff that's just, like, for kids. Like, not just, like, for adults and kids, but, like, for kids. And yet the stuff that's just, like, good lore and or, like, more serious, like, war adult stuff is, like, so strong that it, like, completely makes up for everything else.
No, there was one episode, and I'm going to mess up this entire thing, because, again, I was, like, half playing Pokemon, and, you know, but, like, like, a bunch of clone troopers, like, got stranded somewhere, like, their ship crashed, and then someone straight up died. Like, it was like, buckle in, and someone didn't buckle in. They straight up died. And I was like, oh, shit, okay. And then they get off the ship, and, like, if there were 6 of them to begin with, only 3 of them made it to the rendezvous point. Like, people died right in front of them, and it was one of those, like this is a kid's show. Like, oh, my. Like, I one, I shouldn't have, like, you know, lowered my expectations, for one thing. And 2, like, I need to start paying attention, because if people are going to just die off, like, I need to know who I should be attached to and who not to be attached to, because if there's some like telltale signs of like if, I don't know if everyone that start like red shirts in Star Trek, like if there are those signs, I need to find them so I don't make a mistake.
Not that I'm aware of, but
okay,
because I'm trying to think like there's just so many characters in Clone Wars, and since not everyone is in every episode, it's like hard to remember.
And it's
where,
like out of order,
everyone
right?
ends up. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. There's a chronological order, and then there's the way it aired. But I don't think it really messes up the flow of the show to watch it in the way it aired. Like, the chronological order, I think, is... I always thought it was part of the show, is that, like, these are just assorted stories from throughout the Clone Wars, so it didn't really matter that they weren't in order. So,
okay. I mean, it's still... The bits with Grievous, like there was like a 3-episode arc with him, I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
I want to give my like comprehensive thoughts once I like actually sit down
definitely.
and like veg for a while. But
and
I'm really enjoying it.
I don't want to jump ahead to our main topic too much, but you know, I'm not gonna have a lot to say about this later, so might as well talk about it now while we're on the subject. The new Clone Wars season next year in February, I'm very excited for. We probably talked about it a bit in a previous episode, but it's going to be about the Siege of Mandalore. So it's going to be... have you gotten to any of the Mandalore stuff on Clone Wars?
Nope.
It's fire, and the fact that the Mandalorian is a thing now makes it seem all the more like cohesive and like important. So I'm very excited for that. That's one of my most anticipated shows of next year. Returning shows.
Like when I didn't know like anything really about Star Wars other than like like the Legos and stuff like that. Like Boba Fett was just like he was the guy with the cool mask and the jetpack, so I like him. So now that like one, I thought it was just him, and two, learning that there are more of him, and now there's a whole show where it's like silver him, like silver ground based him, steel type him, steel type Boba Fett.
It's the like, Pokemon Silver to Django and Boba's Diamond and Pearl.
Honestly, okay. Like all of that said, like now that I can feel like a Star Wars fan, like I'm into the Mandalorian or the Mandalorians as a people, as a way,
as a culture.
This is the way.
This is the way. Yeah.
God, Mandalorian's been good.
It's been good. I still haven't watched this week's episode, so I gotta get on that. I've heard mixed things, but I haven't disliked an episode yet, so I doubt I'll dislike this one. So
yeah, I will save my thoughts until you see it.
Cool. I will probably do a big like. Well, I think we've already mentioned we're going to do a Star Wars episode, and that'll probably coincide with either the week The Mandalorian ends or the week after. I can't quite remember, but obviously it'll be after Rise of Skywalker and stuff too. So we'll give our thoughts on both of those things when we get there. But anyway, this is Loosely Defined. Welcome to the show.
Welcome.
And I'm Bo. I'm Ed. That whole thing.
That threw me off so much. I was like, did we rehearse this? Was I supposed to say that right now? Like, okay. I'm Bo and Ed. Hello.
And this is the show where we talk about stuff. If you don't get the sense of it already by listening to this, if this is your first episode, we just talk about assorted nerdy things that matter to us. Hopefully we can do it in an entertaining way, and get the thoughts going on things. We have a lot to talk about today.
Pot stirring.
We're going to be pot stirrers, yes. And there's no easy way to transition to this, but we did want to talk about it very briefly because it matters to us. On the previous versions of this show, if you guys followed us when we were doing it about a year ago, we did talk about music pretty often. That's not necessarily been a part of this new version of Loosely Defined, not necessarily because we're not into music, but just because we follow it a lot less and it doesn't quite fit into the kind of nerd sphere that we're focusing on here. But we do want to send our condolences, share our grief, just... Rest in peace, Juice WRLD. We're recording this on Sunday, December 8th. I don't know if it happened yesterday, but I definitely heard about it this morning.
I think he was I don't know. I think it was one of those because he was leaving LA going to Chicago, so the time zone shift and all that. I would say morning-ish, but before anyone's up. All
I know is I woke up, I saw texts in our group chat about it. I saw it on Twitter.
Yeah, it was the first thing I saw this morning.
Yeah. same. And it's kind of devastating. We're both massive fans. You know, there's really not a whole lot to say other than, you know, we're sad about it. Our thoughts are obviously with him, his friends, and his family, and all of our fellow fans around the world. He was only 21, recently turned 21. It's really tragic.
He's like 2 years in the game too. Like,
yeah, he was very new. Like, I remember when we first discovered him was because our good friend Jason, we were all living together in college, and I remember, I don't know about you, but I remember Jason would just play Lucid Dreams, which, if you know Juice WRLD, is probably the song you know by him. This is definitely his breakout hit. It's probably still his biggest hit. He would just play that in the mornings, so I would literally like wake up hearing that song for like a few days straight, and then finally I was just like, okay, what is that song? I need to know what this is. And at the time, it was only on SoundCloud. I don't think he had anything on Spotify.
Yeah,
so he had just been signed, but he hadn't blown up yet. It was like right in that like sweet spot. So we all kind of like discovered Juice WRLD around the same time. And then as he released his first album, his first singles, his second album, his collab with Future, like it was just this like incredible 2-year run. And you know, it's a shame for really all of music that he's no longer with us. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have too much else to add. I've been poured up all day. Like it's.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like he was he's my most listened to artist of the year, like by far.
Yeah.
I don't know. His 2 albums have been fucking incredible. Like, if you haven't listened to him before, listen to him now.
Yeah.
He has created several a sad boy anthem. So
yes. He's one of those guys who really, I think, pulled together a lot of different genres and tones really well. And you know, just talented and thoughtful. You know,
like
and he was doing good things in Chicago in his community. He wasn't, you know, just a celebrity. You know, he was a real guy. So yeah.
Yeah, like we could talk. Like we really could talk about Juice WRLD for way too long. So
you know,
yeah, just R.I.P. Juice WRLD.
We both have posted a lot about it on our social medias individually. So if you follow us, which you should, you probably saw some of our thoughts on it already. So yeah, I'm drinking out of my brother got me a Juice WRLD. It's the design comes out when the beverage is hot.
There a second ago,
and you can't see it now. Also, if you're listening to this on iTunes or something, you definitely can't see it. But I'm drinking out of a Juice WRLD mug that my brother got me for my birthday 2 years ago, and listen to him all day today. So I'm gonna keep that up for a while. But yeah, no good transitions out of that. Real quick, also, while we're on the subject, I do want to mention as well that Caroll Spinney died as well. He was the voice of and puppeteer for Big Bird and Oscar the Grouch. I'm a huge Muppets fan, grew up on all the Henson stuff, so that's also very sad. So, we're not necessarily going to, every time someone dies, have an in memoriam segment at the beginning of every episode, but, just happened to hit us strongly today.
Yeah,
and
we couldn't not. Yeah, we really couldn't not do this.
I mean, we literally just haven't talked to each other like this over all day. So I think it's just probably a good thing for us to just be healing. Yeah, obviously with Caroll Spinney, it's also very sad. But I learned about that later in the day, and it's just it's a shitty day. It's never fun.
So
when
very
this shit happens, so
super crazy hard U-turn out of this.
Yeah.
Not U-turn, but just hard turn out of this.
No good transitions.
Yeah, like the only decent thing to come to Twitter today was the Wonder Woman trailer. So we're just gonna
Yeah, this weekend was Brazil Comic-Con, so a lot of stuff was revealed, but not necessarily to the public, but thank God we got this trailer because this was hype.
I was clapping. Like I clapped very hard alone. And like immediately went to my brother's room and was just knocking on his door, like, yo, new Wonder Woman trailer, and then realized like you don't fucking care, and then went back to my room, like he cares, but just not enough for me to like be so hype. I'm just gonna jump into it. The goddamn Kingdom Come suit. I never thought, I never in a million years thought that we would like, now that we have Brandon Routh as Kingdom Come Superman, and this is not going to be the same. Like it's not, they're not going to, you know, meet up and then fight, but I want them to. Oh, I want them to. Like Gal Gadot already had like the Wonder Woman look down. So like my favorite Wonder Woman look on like the Wonder Woman, and it like she looks fantastic. Like like her riding like the goddamn lightning was awesome.
Literally riding the lightning.
Like I don't know. Just the fact the movie could be an hour and a half of just Steve Trevor just being like, what is this? Oh, okay. What is this? Oh, okay. And then as long as she puts on the armor at the end, I don't care. Like I'm so down. And Kristen Wiig looks dope.
I mean, my biggest, I think a lot of people's biggest issue with the first Wonder Woman is that the final act wasn't as cohesive with the rest of the movie. And it just, you know, I think at the same time, it also had some of the strongest moments of any superhero movie. And this looks, you know, ready to do a lot of the same, and hopefully is a bit tighter as an overall film. Although not to say I didn't love the first Wonder Woman. I really did. I think it's one of the best movies DC's ever made. So as a follow-up, I'm really excited for this. And I was skeptical about Steve Trevor coming back, but just seeing him there, like Chris Pine killed it in Wonder Woman. So I'm hyped to see him return. I honestly I think that's my favorite role I've seen him in, even though I wouldn't have expected to have said that because it's just a supporting role and he's done so many leads. But and it's not necessarily even a diss to his lead performances. He was just so good in that particular movie. And what you said about him kind of being the fish out of water. Yeah. And like I love that they're flipping that because the whole first movie was her being the fish out of water. And yet still having control of the situation, him like being like, no, you can't do that. No, you can't do that. And now finally it's like Wonder Woman gets to be like the one who's like completely in control of the situation, completely knows what's going on. And I'm really excited to see that. I also liked how hard they leaned into the 80s aesthetic. I don't know why I thought, like the poster gave that impression, the title gave that impression, but for some reason when the trailer started, I was like, wow, they're really leaning into that. Like this feels like a Stranger Things trailer, you know? And I'm like so all down. The mall stuff felt like, Pedro Pascal looks great in that they somehow made Pedro Pascal not look great.
He looks, you know, like they pulled some doing Christian Bale Vice, like I mean not that drastic, but you know.
No, I get what you're saying though. I mean they're clearly doing some kind of like play on like 80s Trump or something like that.
I guess I don't know.
Yeah, I mean I don't. It's too early to say without seeing the movie that this is like, aha, great, Wonder Woman is going to take down Trump. Like I don't know. It's still he's mass Maxwell appeal Lord, blockbuster. Right? So it's still like a mass appeal blockbuster. So there's a chance they don't go that far, but it looks like it from this. So I think it'll be really interesting. And the fact is, this movie was supposed to come out this year in the fall, I think, and then they pushed it back to the summer. Because that was the date they originally wanted for it, and I think that like because they wanted it to be a summer release.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Rather than like a fall release to be more to kind of stand on its own a little bit more, and I think that seems like that was a good call, especially with all the special effects shots in this trailer. They probably needed that extra time to get them right because that lightning riding looked pretty good. Yeah, like it was pretty good.
The fact that I didn't have to question, like, what the fuck is she doing? It's like, no, I can tell that she grabbed onto that lightning and swung onto it like some kind of like fucking Wonder Woman. Like, that's I have never in comics seen her do that, but also, why not? Like, that's awesome. And going back to... Just going back to what you were saying about the fish out of water dynamic being flipped. Like I love Wonder Woman for her comic versions, like the battle hardened, like yes, she is closer to like God of War than, you know, anything else. Like if you need to send someone into fight, you send in Wonder Woman. Like she's the muscle. She's the she's angry a lot of the time. Like it just, I don't know. Like I love that version of her, and I'm excited to see if we get that with this, because I'm hoping that how much time has passed? 50 years? I can't remember. I don't know.
Something like that. Yeah, it was like
like 60 years.
60 years. Yeah, since like the 20s or the late teens.
It was World War I.
Yeah, late teens. So it was like the end of the war. So it would have been like literally like right at the turn of the decade there.
Yeah, I don't remember which war it was, and I'm bad at math. So either way, my number a long time ago, Wonder Woman was active, and she's been either active in hiding observing the world, like more active in the world. I want to see if that has taken a toll on her and how that takes effect on Steve Trevor, who I think was like he brought his performance was great, and I think the fact that he was like he was her introduction to the evil of man or whatever, but also like her real symbol of hope and like the the goodness of basic humanity, all that stuff. I want to see how that dynamic flips, and I just want to see Gal Gadot like angrily punch things, angrily.
I mean, seriously, that action in the first one was so unique and so good that I mean, the trailer gives me no indication to think that it won't completely match it, if not blow it out of the
And we're going back to Themyscira.
Yes, I was worried about that for some reason, because like once they leave Themyscira in Wonder Woman 1, they don't even cut to it later to show like Robin Wright, or I guess she died, but whatever. You know, to show the Amazonians just being like, hey, you know, wonder where Wonder Woman's at. Okay, and then move on. Like, it was probably unnecessary to that story, but still, I'm glad we're getting a return. Plus, they just announced today, or at least it was reported, I don't know if it came directly from DC, that they're doing a spin-off centered on the Amazonians.
Oh, I'm down. DC, for their streaming service?
No, I think a movie.
Oh, word.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like how they're doing a horror movie spin-off of Aquaman based on The Trench, which I'm like, I don't care about, but
I didn't know that was happening.
Yeah. That was announced a while ago.
That sounds terrifying. I would not want to watch that movie.
Well, it makes sense because James Wan is such a horror director first, and he was responsible for Aquaman. So
makes sense if you've got the water.
We'll touch on a lot of the other upcoming superhero stuff later. We got other trailers this week between that and Black Widow and the new Bond trailer and stuff. So we'll mention some of that in a bit. But before we get into our main topic, we would like to talk about the Video Game Awards,
where we will probably see a lot of other trailers for new games.
Exactly. We don't have to get too much into this because the actual awards will happen in not too long, and we'll be able to talk about the winners and the losers and the announcements. But the nominations were revealed, and the Video Game Awards are not. Video games don't quite have their Oscars or their Grammys yet. I think over the last couple years, the Video Game Awards have been starting to push that, at least in terms of getting the media attention. Yeah. And the announcements help with that. So I think real.
And that one developer, I can't. And this is horrible. I can't remember the year or the name, but the developer of the game where the two people escape and it's co-op, whatever. He was drunk on stage and was just like, "This is better than the Oscars. This is the Oscars for video games." So like, since then I was just like, okay, yeah, this is the Oscars for video games. So like, I do want to give it like sure, there's not like the central the one. But also, if I had I don't know, if someone put a gun to my head and said, "What's the Oscars for video games?" It'd be like the Game Awards, like Jeff Keighley's Game Awards. So, I don't know. I always get excited about this year.
You really got me excited about it last year. So now I'm down to be a part of the hype train this time.
Because last year they announced fucking Joker at in Smash.
Yeah, Joker in Smash, not Joker.
I was about to say Joker in Persona.
Yeah. So we won't go down the entire list of nominees. Y'all can look that up yourself. But we do briefly want to talk about the Game of the Year. We got Control, Death Stranding, Resident Evil 2, Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, Smash Bros. Ultimate, and The Outer Worlds. And I haven't played all of these. I've only played 2 of them. And I've only really beaten, I guess, if you count Smash Bros. As something you beat. I've only beaten one of them. But I'm maybe like a fourth of the way through Control. But I know it got a lot of love, and I'm enjoying what I'm playing so far. But there a couple things I wanted to talk about here. Really 2. One, I just find it interesting that the Resident Evil 2 remake got Game of the Year. Like, I know it got great reviews, but like, as far as I know, it's pretty much just it's not like a reimagining, right? Like, it's just a straight remake, right?
I mean, from what I can tell, it's been let's say Pokemon had never had any of the generations between they'd never had 2 through 7. It's like that level of oh wow, so you just complete quality of life, you took everything that made the original game perfect, and what you loved about it. It's the best.
I guess it wouldn't bother me if Heart Gold and Soul Silver got nominated for Game of the Year, so I shouldn't let this bother me.
It's that level of remake. From what I can tell, I have not played the game personally.
Yeah.
Because I am a scaredy boy.
I do briefly want to talk about whether or not Smash Bros. Has a chance of winning, because I don't know how you feel, given that you've played Sekiro and Death Stranding, but like Smash Bros. For me, at least of these games, would be the one that I would call Game of the Year. Granted, again, only played 2 of them. But I also think in terms of like the hype surrounding it, the amount of players it has, the reach it has, it definitely has a good case for it. But for some reason, maybe it's just because it came out like at the very beginning of the window for Game of the Year, or maybe it's the fact that it's not like a, I feel like awards typically go more towards the story-based like AAA games. Yeah. But for some reason, I just for those reasons, I feel like Smash doesn't really have a great shot at winning, and I feel like it totally should.
Absolutely not. I mean, okay, so I agree. So yes, I agree with all of that, but I also think that like it has kind of, it doesn't, I don't know, like I know without a shadow of a doubt that I love Smash Ultimate, and that I would give it, like, if I had to put a number on it, like probably 9.5 out of 10 or a 9 out of 10. And like the only reason I'm counting it out is like Nintendo's online, which I can't blame just Smash for. That's all of Nintendo. Yeah. And then like their World of Light was not what I wanted. But also, if I like any single player content that's not Subspace Emissary 2, like I'm just going to be upset with. So that's kind of on me. Yeah. So like, whatever.
I feel that completely.
It's on me.
There's a part of me that's been disappointed with Smash since Brawl because of that. As much as the games have been great and arguably better than Brawl, like it's still just like. But Brawl was a more complete game. But anyway,
like I got to fight Rayquaza as Star Fox you'll never recreate that until you recreate that.
Stage bosses are kind of ass, like
very ass. I don't like them. I really don't like them. But I don't know. It just seems like it's Smash. Like to me, it's. I would be happy if it won, but I'm also like. They didn't do anything new.
Do you think them not giving it to Smash is them taking it for granted, though? Because Smash is one of those things that, like, it is a once-in-a-generation, like, console generation game. Like, these are... It's one of the most hype games of every console generation. It seems like it should be an obvious Game of the Year contender every time it comes out, and yet it just feels like it's...
we've also been playing Smash. We've also been playing... Like, Smash has been... Like it's one of my earliest, if not my earliest, gaming memory. So like for me, I can't go in with this bias of like, like you don't like love Smash. Like to other people, it's just like a not even a fighting game, just like that one weird Nintendo game where Kirby can can punch Donkey Kong in the face. Like it's.
I just think you got it. I don't know though. Like it's a game with 70+ characters, and most of them are pretty unique, and it's balanced. Like how that is a feat. I agree. For a game with 70+ characters, it's pretty fucking balanced.
And honestly, with this last patch, it makes everyone kind of, or not everyone, but it makes a lot more people a lot more viable.
There's usually for at least in the year Smash has been out, I think at any given time there's maybe been no more than like 5 characters that are like completely out of the meta. Like that are completely unusable in like tournaments. But even then, like definitely there's a hierarchy. But it wouldn't be like ridiculous to see someone using like a lower tiered character.
Yeah,
unless it was like Little Mac or something. But I
mean, even I've seen Little Macs on like my YouTube feed. So like I don't know. Just going back to like the I don't know. From what I can tell from just my gaming bubble and all the influences I follow, it seems like Resident Evil 2 is probably going to take it. Just because, because it's like the most complete, like everyone that has played this game, like and also, like let's be real, like it's a bunch of like older heads that have played the original and that are comparing it from there. And also, I think horror games are like, I can't even say that they're making a comeback because I can't personally say that they fell off after a while, but like I feel like there's been a renewed interest in
the quality for them has the universal acclaim has been more common for horror games, I think, in the last couple of years. And there's been a lot more unique, I think, versions of them, and VR has, I think, helped horror games as well. I mean, Resident Evil 7 seems like a natural fit for VR as horror games.
Like Resident Evil 7 was one of the first games that, like, one of the first horror games that I considered getting, and like I don't fuck with horror games like at all. So like, I think
yeah.
I mean, and also Capcom has honestly been on fire with like their non Marvel versus Capcom stuff. Like I think I mean Street Fighter's been like meh. Like I always keep an eye on Street Fighter just to see like is it worth coming back? Like I want to jump back in at some point, but like I need to know if now is the time and they're in between generations.
Yeah.
All of that said, I want to talk Death Stranding because it got like 8 or 9 nominations. And a lot of like I don't know, when I first saw that I was like Kojima is like super good friends with Jeff Keighley. And then, like, after just a little bit of digging, fucking Jeff Keighley really doesn't have anything to do with the nominations or anything like that. It's just, like, they give you who put stuff up for nominations, like Kind of Funny and What's Good Games and IGN, and just all the people that you would think. But Jeff Keighley himself has, like, no say in it.
Right.
And, like, the more I play Death Stranding, the more I'm like, oh, okay, like, for me, I get it. I personally... I need to like get really like a lot further in. Like I'm really only I think like 15, 20 hours in right now.
Right.
Like I still need to I don't know. I don't know when the barrier is to like really judge a game, but like the moment to moment of that game, like the audio is fucking fantastic, so I would understand them getting the award for audio design. Like the like it's action and like adventure I 100% understand, so like the action adventure I would give it, but also I haven't played Control. Do you know if Borderlands was any good?
I think Borderlands fans liked it.
But
I don't know beyond that. I mean, that's the problem is I typically see more movies that get nominated for Oscars than I do games that get nominated for either the video game awards or just awards in general. Just because games are more expensive and take more of their time, so I typically play less in a year than or new releases at least than I do, watch TV or play or watch movies. But
plus, it's like more of an act. Like you can't just like do the dishes while you're playing fucking God of War. Like,
but it's funny because Death Stranding, I think, I've seen a lot of hate for it too, and I last week you briefly had a hot take that was games don't have to be fun to be good.
Yes.
And I don't want to speak for the game that I haven't played, but it seems like that probably applies here.
Oh no, so my thing with Death Stranding is it's not like I can play Destiny and like think of other shit.
Yeah.
Like I can and I can like have I'm not saying that I'm not having fun with Death Stranding. It's just like like I don't go to Death Stranding to have fun. Like I'm playing Death Stranding to finish Death Stranding. Like I want to know. Like they're the little story bits that they've laid out. Like actually, okay, it's funny. Like I showed Zion the first trailer just to give him, like my little brother, showed him the first trailer just to give him a context of like what I'm playing right now, like just the kind of vibe. And I remember watching that trailer when it like at the Game Awards when it first premiered. Freaking the fuck out, not having any idea what was going on. Like I was like, I'm scared, but I'm excited and I want to know what happens. And now that I can like I can't explain everything that happens in the first trailer, but I'm just like, oh, okay, yeah, no, this is happening because this makes sense, and this and this and this and this and this and this, and like the world building is phenomenal. Like it's like to me that's the point. Like I think Kojima has created like one of the more interesting just fictional universes I've ever like read, played, seen, fucking I'm trying to think of listened to. I mean, Gambino's because the internet is a screenplay, so kind of. But like you genuinely, it's hard to describe. Like you really feel like at every like you're so engaged. Like I've never been more engaged with the game or with any kind of medium, but that kind of is to its detriment. Like literally the triggers are dedicated to keeping balance. Like lean to the left and lean to the right, and you've got a bunch of shit on your back. So if you fall over, then like and falling is a huge deal in this game. Like I've fallen once and then crashed once. So technically like just 2 fail states or whatever. But like if you damage all of your shit, then that's a game over. It's not like like they have the weird ghost zombies from the other dimension or whatever, but your character is like immortal or I don't know. It's hard to everything's hard to explain. Like I
have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah,
so
I don't know.
Continue.
But like dying is not. So like they have the ghost zombies or whatever that'll follow you. I was all scared because they're scary, so I would avoid them as one does. Like, and also this stealth I felt like right at home with. Like after playing Metal Gear Solid, like the weightiness of the crouch and the like knowing that okay, I gotta like stop moving with the stick a little earlier so that Sam, like Norman Reedus, can stop on his own. But like if you get caught by the ghost things, you don't die. Like death is not the consequence. It's losing your shit. So they don't take you and then kill you. They take you and then drag you away from your shit, and that's scarier than dying. And like. I don't know. I was delivering.
It reminds me of Yoshi's Island.
I mean, it's kind of like instead of the bubble floating away,
it's like hardcore AAA Yoshi's Island.
It's. I mean, I've seen people call it like Silent Hill Prime, like Amazon Prime, because it's super scary. Or I don't. Okay, I'm a scaredy boy, so I think it's super scary. Like anytime.
Well, it came off of the cancellation of Silent Hills, so it kind of makes sense that they probably carried over at least a few ideas.
Like literally, anytime it rains in that game, I just get so fucking tense. Like that, I guess that's the best way to describe it. Like you are, like for one thing, the fact that the baby, because you have the little BB, like if you start moving around too much, like if you start falling down a hill and you don't stop yourself, the baby will start shaking. If there are ghosts around you, the baby will start crying. I'm sorry, the baby will start crying, not shaking.
Yeah.
But you have to like do a whole, and also okay, so for every reason I love what he's doing with like the overall vision, it's just the individual like menus are really clunky and it takes forever to, the menus are super clunky. The text is really small, but they're patching that. But like right now the text is really small. Like I like how in games like in Red Dead, Arthur Morgan, like if you moved him, like he's got a weight to him. So like if you just click the stick, he moves a bit after. So you got to like account for that. But like if I just need to turn around and hit this terminal real quick, it's and I've got a bunch of shit on my back that I'm gonna fall over if I turn around too quickly. Like it makes it very hard to do the very basic things that I want to do, but also with the overall vision of. And I don't know what the fuck he's trying to tell me, but I'm sure there's a message there. Like
right.
And
well, a guy like Kojima has earned that level of like I don't need to know what I'm getting up front in order to trust that I'm getting something.
Yeah,
so.
like I knew I was getting unfiltered Kojima. Like I knew that. Yeah. I knew what I was signing up for. Like I didn't know what it was going to be, but I knew I was going to be confused and disoriented and a little angry. And I really want Monster Energy now because like literally every time you go to your room, it's just there's a stack of them on the table.
Oh my god!
And like when you're out in the world because of the apocalypse or whatever, you can't drink water. You have to drink Monster Energy. It's like you go to your canteen and it's like you have this much Monster Energy drink left, and then you drink and piss Monster Energy drink.
Gamer fuel.
Yeah.
That's funny. I think the Red Dead connection is interesting too because that's another game where fun maybe isn't accurate for a lot of it, and there's a lot of like clunky stuff that immerses you but also like maybe doesn't gel with like the actual gamey stuff. But clearly the Game Awards had no problem nominating and awarding that plenty of stuff last year, so I think Death Stranding probably has a lot of chance at winning some of these, maybe not Game of the Year, but even still. Also another thing you mentioned was how the horror elements of it, and you said before how horror games in general, I think it's interesting because Control, I got a lot of kind of, it's not a horror game, but it's definitely spooky. Yeah. And there's a lot of that kind of vibe. It's funny. There are moments where it reminds me of Luigi's Mansion. But there seems to be a lot of room for that kind of stuff now, and even not just specifically horror games. But before we move into our main topic, we want to also talk about games that might be revealed at the Video Game Awards, or not specifically games, but just things that might be revealed. And then from there, we can talk about just other stuff that's coming up next year that is getting us excited. So specifically at the VGAs, You said before we started recording that there's like 10 things that are going to be announced. 10 new games.
I think that's the number I heard. It was like 10 new game releases.
Right.
10 was the number. I don't know I don't know if it's like new footage of things we've already heard of. I took it as new releases, like new things we haven't heard of before. Because also I know that like that's like, let's be real, like industry people giving other, like you and I have no personal attachment to the industry part of this. So to get us involved, Jeff Keighley needs to get the reveals out there. So I'm just like, if he, at this point, I'm just excited. Like, I know that the last few years, like, Joker and Smash was, like, the hypest thing that I can think of. But also, like, I did, clap and stand up when God of War won.
Well, there will be good moments coming nonetheless. And, we're not going to try to predict all 10 reveals, but I think it's pretty safe to say we'll probably get the reveal or announcement of the new Smash DLC character, because there's one left in the Fighters Pack. So we know we're getting at least one more, and then they've announced that we're going to get more after. But we know this next one is probably coming relatively soon. And there's no real obvious choice, especially since they added Joker and Terry Bogard and whatnot. Like, it seems like anything's possible at this rate. That said, Sakurai did tweet something that kind of seemed like it could be a hint, where he was commemorating a year since the game had been released. And he in a tweet that he posted, one of the images was all the DLC fighters on Battlefield with Mario there, but also Daisy was there. So it was like Mario center stage, which makes sense, because Mario, and then all the DLC fighters around him, and then Daisy for some reason. So people have taken that to think that it might be a hint at the next DLC fighter being a Mario character, and more specifically, our boy Waluigi. Wow. And I think we would both very much love that. I think a lot of people would love that. A lot of people would also hate it, but fuck those people. Waluigi deserves so much more.
Honestly, they're wrong. The game is not for you.
And I'm willing to believe that. I'm willing to believe that hint, if only because Daisy and Waluigi are like tied. Like they have a lot of dialogue between the two of them in like games like Super Mario Strikers and whatnot. Like Waluigi hasn't been in a game really with a story, so it's hard to say specifically. But the two of them have been in supplemental materials and in like small ways been connected. So it would make sense to put her there, especially because she's like she's like Wario is like Waluigi is Wario's Daisy, I guess. So you can also like the idea of like a secondary character there. But yeah, the only reason maybe not to believe that it's going to be Waluigi is so far every DLC fighter except for Piranha Plant, who wasn't part of the Fighters Pack, has been a third-party character. So it stands to reason that the last one would be as well. But I think if it's someone like Waluigi, just the hype and the anticipation of having this character that people have either really wanted or really not wanted for so long is enough to still sell him. So you probably don't need the third party, but either way, it'll be cool to see who we get as a DLC character. There's also, the new year's about to start, so there's going to be plenty of new games announced. We mentioned before we started recording that we were trying to think of like what's the most crazy thing that they could announce.
I just thought of it.
What's that?
F-Zero. I've been saying it for so long.
A new F-Zero?
It's gonna happen.
That'd be cool.
It's gonna happen. Because like I personally have been playing the like F-Zero SNES, like Super F-Zero, whatever it is. Like not a lot, but like every once in a while I'll remember it's there and be like, oh, I can play this.
Yeah.
I really hope Nintendo is like reading the data right now on who's playing F-Zero and let them know that like we want this. And I'm also seeing enough people on Twitter, vocalize it. Like I thought I was the only one, but I'm not. So like, if this happens,
I mean, Nintendo hasn't had a lot of new IPs in a while, and there's a lot of ones that they've kind of not done anything with in a while. To that point, I also think Metroid Prime 4 could get some footage finally, because like a year ago now, maybe even less, they announced that they had kind of restarted development. So we know it's still probably a bit of a ways away, but I think they could finally reveal something just to give us a sense of the tone and the story and whatnot, and then maybe announce some sort of Metroid Prime trilogy re-release, which I think we mentioned in a previous episode.
Yeah, I feel like that's definitely happening. Not necessarily at Game Awards, but like the re-release for sure. Like it has to.
And in terms of sequels that we might get revealed, I also think there's a chance because there's been a lot of rumors about Rocksteady working on something, whether it's a Superman game that was apparently canceled or a potential new Batman game, a new Arkham game
Court of Owls.
that could be based on the Court of Owls storyline. Yeah,
which is so good.
Yeah, which is like one of the most successful Batman storylines of the last 10 years. So it'd be really cool to see them do that. That I would be very hyped for that. If they announce a new Arkham game, that jumps very high on my list of most anticipated games of 2020.
I just remembered your goddamn talk about Spider-Man. I'm still mad about that.
Well, if they announce Spider-Man PS4 2 or PS5, Spider-Man PS5, then
whatever.
That would clearly be my most anticipated over any Batman game. So
whatever.
All right, now let's just what are you most looking forward to potentially either at the Game Awards or just in general for next year?
I mean, okay, so fucking Cyberpunk. Like the fact that like it's I don't know. Like I didn't know that Cyberpunk was like a term or like a because I don't know, just as
it's
a kid.
Like a genre. Like steampunk.
Like I didn't know that like just the word cyberpunk, like the term existed until like this game, like I found this game or like it was announced. But like it's totally my favorite thing. Like it's just my favorite form of fiction like ever. And I didn't realize how much I wanted a game like this until I started. Like the more I look into it, the more I'm just like, I can't imagine like how long it took them to make the game look as good as it does, just from all of this from the previews and stuff like that. Like I need to see more of it, but also I don't want to see any of it because I want to go in blind. Like it comes out 3 days after my birthday. Like no one will see me again. Like it's like for my birthday, I want to just disappear and like,
right.
Like I'm so excited, and I can't articulate why I'm excited because it's just everything. It looks fantastic. The gameplay looks like it's everything that I want. The RPG mechanics look like they're going to be really deep. There's a cool stat. It's like health, intelligence, cool. Like I'm like you have a jacket that has a light up collar, and I want it, and I just like it brings up the childhood giddiness in me, which comes out often, but not as much as it does for Cyberpunk. Like
yeah.
I want the car.
I'm sure that'll be a lot of. I think that's kind of already cemented itself on the Game of the Year list for next year.
And Keanu Reeves
at the awards and stuff like that. Keanu Reeves, yeah. I haven't really. You probably know this. Not you, not our audience, but I haven't really been following this game. I just not out of lack of interest for Cyberpunk specifically. I do like that. Aesthetic and whatnot, but I just don't typically follow a lot of games development unless it's like Smash Bros. Even Spider-Man, I followed like trailers and like gameplay, but I wasn't like necessarily looking into very specific stuff about it. Just kind of just watching people swing around the city because that's what I wanted to do.
The puddles in Spider-Man.
I see, like, good example. I did not follow Puddlegate. I was just like, what is this bullshit? But yeah, with Cyberpunk, I'm not trying to like lessen your excitement or poo-poo anyone who wants to anyone who wants to buy this game. But yeah, I have been a little put off by some of the stuff that I've seen from I've heard about regarding CD Projekt Red and some of their developers' views on trans issues and specifically how that pertains to this game. I don't know enough to say how much it's actually a part of the game itself. And if you dig deep enough in any of these developers that we're looking at for movies or TV shows, like there's definitely problematic people working on them, people who don't believe stuff that I believe and whatnot. But specifically with Cyberpunk, it just happened to be a barrier into why I didn't suddenly, like, after not following it, decide to start following it. But yeah, like
for clarification in that regard, there were two incidences, which now that I'm saying it out loud, there being two incidences makes it sound really bad. There's one where one of the devs during like a Q&A made like a did you just try to assume my gender like joke, some immature bullshit. like transphobic, immature, like not trying to lessen, the offense there. The other one is more in terms of so Cyberpunk 2077 is based off of Cyberpunk 2049. Right. I think is the first one. And I feel like I'm getting that name wrong, but like based off like a tabletop game,
right?
It's a tabletop game.
That's it. Yeah.
And from like, and I've been I can't remember his name, and I feel bad, but he's really interesting. Older black dude. He said that he was just
who created the game?
Who created the original game. And he was like, I got home from Blade Runner, and then I started writing, and then my wife helped me with this game, and then we sold it, and like so nice. But there's a bit that. And from what I could tell, when he's approached about it, he kind of just like doesn't give a good answer. But there's a bit about like the more you will modify your, like if you wanted to replace your arm with a robot arm or whatever, that would take away humanity points, which would, if you hit a certain point, the robotness would take over your body, and then you would go like cyber crazy, whatever. Because when I saw body modification equals lower humanity, I was like, okay, hold on, like. Right. Like I'm into the cyberpunk genre for the whole fucking philosophy of it, like the whole what is the metaphor, the story that we've talked about, the ship getting replaced,
the ship of Theseus?
Yes. That is one of my favorite and I can never remember the fucking name of the ship.
Yeah.
But just one of my favorite thought philosophies in general. So I was just trying to I don't know.
Look, I'm not trying to say you have to justify it, because I don't even know enough to fully explain what the criticisms are. I'm just saying if you've heard about this and you're curious about it, like to find people who like Google it, and you will undoubtedly find people who can explain it a lot better than I can. And I'm not trying to put the onus on you, Bo, to justify it. I was more to explain why I like have not even just like. I mean, there are a lot of games I have not seen gameplay for Cyberpunk 2077. Like that's how disconnected I am from the hype for this game. But I didn't want it to go completely unmentioned, because it has, at least in my sphere, been a part of the narrative for this game thus far, or at least specifically CD Projekt Red as a developer. But I think people often forget that companies don't have opinions. People within companies have opinions that represent those companies. But Disney is not against having queer characters in their movies. The specific people making decisions do, and you can have people in those positions who make better decisions and stuff like that. And you can criticize the whole system for allowing or not that kind of thing, but I it's not. I think it's not a matter of it being fair or not. It's just inaccurate to say this company has an opinion on something when a company is not even a company is just a structure. You can criticize it, but it doesn't have opinions.
You can criticize corporate culture, but corporate culture is written by a person and mandated by human resources and the management and that kind of thing.
Yeah, and it's a lot of the developers we talk about, because we like their games, are part of a culture that there's crunch and there's other bad business practices that screw over their employees and
Riot just paid out sick.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to make a joke here. I'm pretty sure they did pay $69 million to the female employee, or $169 million to the female employees that were under there.
Yeah, that was a huge settlement.
Yeah, because they were literally farting in people's faces over at Riot. It was and I that was not me making a joke. Actually farting in people's faces.
Yeah, the story is kind of ridiculous, and I don't know if he touched on Riot specifically, but Hassan Minhaj did for Patriot Act did a really good episode on the games industry that's worth looking into. And there's also plenty of people who have written on it and reported on it that have done a lot of really good journalism on it, so it's worth looking into.
Jason Schreier.
I didn't want to completely dive down that rabbit hole too much, and I apologize for sending us down there.
No, honestly, I feel like it's important to talk about. Not in the discussion right now, but I feel in general, I don't feel
I don't want us to.
I'm saying for the audience too.
But I also,
if in the future, if stuff like this comes up, we talk about this. We talk about we love Overwatch, and when the Blizzard Hong Kong stuff happened, we stopped playing because we weren't sure where to stand on that, and you know,
Yeah.
like as much as we try to keep politics out of it. Yeah. Like as much as we try to keep politics out of it, like we do want to have, like, these are our opinions. So, you know, I'm okay voicing them.
Speaking of Overwatch, I don't know whether to be excited for Overwatch 2, if it even is coming out next year.
I personally am not. Like, they have not shown me anything to get me fully on board with paying another $60 for...
That's the thing.
Like,
it looks like an expansion.
It really is.
Looks like an expansion, yeah.
Everyone's been asking for PvE. I don't care about PvE with Overwatch.
Well, that's where I disagree. Like, I feel like PvE makes sense because it's just like I like the idea of like a single player game where each different playable character has a completely unique play style.
Then you can play Destiny like the rest of us.
No.
Yes, I'm saying.
Okay,
so
well, you wrote on our show doc the stuff about Destiny. Why don't you talk about Destiny for a minute, and then I'll check out.
So my thing is, okay. So one, Destiny 2 has like, I'm trying to figure out whether or not I want to put it on my Game of the Year's list, just my personal one, because I feel like it has become such a different game in the last, I don't know, whenever I really checked out, and then came back for Shadowkeep, like the new light system, all the upgrades and stuff like that. Like it's fantastic. And I think directly comparing it to Overwatch, like I think what Overwatch does, like, and I say this tentatively and like, you know, opinion, whatever, like there's no other hero, like team based, like you said, everyone has a specific role and they're, you know, fulfilling that role.
Team Fortress 2, but yeah.
I mean, for right now, like you can go back and play, but Team Fortress is old, and like if you wanted to, in 2019,
it's hard to get into that game now. Yeah,
like in 2019, if you say, "Hey, I want to play a hero-based first-person shooter," you send that person to Overwatch.
Yeah.
So like, I think one, if they're still selling base Overwatch for I think $40 right now, like that's kind of roughly where I'm seeing it, and then Overwatch 2, I assume it's going to be another $60 because I haven't heard anything otherwise. And like, do you know if you buy Overwatch 2, do you get the PvP? Like, do you get the
I think so. Yeah.
We think so. We don't, like, to me the marketing is so not.
That's the problem. I mean, and this goes back to the Hong Kong stuff. Is that like there's no clear like obvious indication, but it seems to make a lot of sense that at BlizzCon that they announced Overwatch 2, Diablo 4, like a lot of these games, not like purely to distract, but arguably purely to, I mean, like, I'm sure they were working on them. Clearly they were working on them. They had stuff to show, but, like, it doesn't seem like we know at all when Overwatch 2 is even coming out. So, like, like, if they
don't have the fact that they didn't give
Blizzard's
us,
not giving me any reason to, like, give them the benefit of the doubt on any of this.
The fact that they didn't give us a solid 2020 release date makes me think that, like, I mean, not even solid 2020, just saying in the vague 2020. Like,
especially for a game like this, you'd think they'd at least say, like, beta coming whenever, you know?
I mean, but also, like, the original Overwatch was in beta for, like, a long time.
But that's
like,
what I'm saying, you know, is that, like, maybe, like, even if they just said beta coming 2020, and the beta didn't come out until, like, September, and it was in beta for 6 months, that would at least be something, you know?
True, okay.
Like, rather than it being, like, Overwatch 2's coming eventually, like, a sequel to a massively popular game, like, that'll come out eventually, like, oh, no shit.
Like,
but hey.
Was it necessary? I mean, okay, and I guess my thing, directly comparing it to Destiny 2. So, for one thing, and kind of going back to the Game Awards, I would not at all be surprised if Destiny 2 came to Switch at like just a shadow drop. Hey, we not necessarily they flipped a switch, pun unintended. Like not necessarily just, you know, click a button now it's on Switch, but like I wouldn't be surprised if they had been working on it for a long time. Like, because to me, once Overwatch and The Witcher 3 are on Switch, you're just like, you know,
if it's happen,
if it's running on the PlayStation, just make a few cuts and put it on Switch. Because I know that I would love that. But also the fact that it's so... Having it accessible from everywhere, having it free to play, having, like... So you can pay for expansions, and then you can also just pay for, like, the new seasons, which gives you a lot of content. Like, everything that you're getting for free is a shit ton of stuff. But if you want, like, a shit ton of stuff that's current, pay $10 for, like... 2 months of content, 2 to 3 months of content.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, it's worth it. You have really great PvP, you have PvE, and then you have the Gambit mode, which is PvPvE. So it's like you can do so much for free, and it's all really good. And I feel like as as Overwatch kind of starts transitioning away from just base Overwatch to Overwatch 2, like nothing from Overwatch's PvE has ever made me want more of it. Like it's just to me the bots have been like, and maybe they're focusing on improving the AI for the next one, but if it really is just more of current Overwatch PvE, I'm not going to be happy with it.
Right.
Because like even now, like if we were to if we played Overwatch, like back in my head, I'm just like, oh, I kind of want to play Crucible right now in Destiny, like because
right. Well, that's the thing. Really Overwatch's PvE hasn't evolved in like 2 years, so it's like hard to, I mean, that's why I'm like, I need to see more. I need you to show me more because Overwatch PvE in concept sounds awesome to me. In execution, it's been okay. Like, it's like, I mean, okay, so the pieces are there. Like you've got the potential. You've got all the lore that really doesn't play into the actual gameplay of base Overwatch. So it's just, why not? Like it seems like a layup. There's no reason to think that it's going to be as expansive as a $60 game should be. I mean,
why do you like I guess my thing is I don't see the potential of Overwatch PvE. Like I guess it's just like a draw it out for me because to me, like
I just think it's like it's a story. It's a multiplayer game. It's a game that's not story based yet has so much story. So I think having a mode in which that explores that story makes sense, and also like again I mentioned this before, the concept of a shooter, a single player shooter, or not single player but PvE shooter where each character is like a unique build and plays differently is more exciting to me than playing a Call of Duty campaign, honestly, like where it's just like, use this gun or use that gun. Like the idea of playing like a campaign where I can play as Lucio or Reinhardt is cool, like that just in that general sense. But again, like they haven't really shown me anything that makes me think it's going to be anything more than just glorified Uprising mode,
That's my
Archives, whatever it's called, Archives, like the yearly event where it's like story based stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, and I find those modes fun, but you play them once and you've played them, so
that's my biggest.
Yeah.
And
if I'm going to playing $60 for a like 5-hour campaign that I won't want to play again, I'm not doing it. Like,
that's my biggest concern.
Yeah,
and I completely hit the nail on the head.
That, yeah. But here, we're not talking enough about stuff we're actually anticipated for. So from this list in front of us that the audience can't see, tell me what is your most anticipated game of 2020?
It's Cyberpunk, easily. It's like Cyberpunk, far and away. Like
more than Last of Us Part 2.
No, like I love Joel and Ellie. Nothing is going to keep me from I think I'm pretty sure Last of Us comes out February, right? If I'm not mistaken.
I thought they moved
because it just got delayed.
I thought they delayed it.
I think they delayed it to February. Oh no! You're right.
Yeah,
you're right. They did delay it to March 29th. You're totally
it's
right.
only March? Okay, that's only a month.
May 29th. I'm an idiot.
That's multiple months.
Yes. So, but it's after...
Those M months get confusing.
My thing is it's after Cyberpunk. And I see myself, like, I'm... The same way that I can think of, like, oh, I kind of want to run this build in Skyrim, I see myself doing that in Cyberpunk over and over and over and over and over again. And, like, I just... It seems like it's going to be one of those... Like, genuinely will not see me again. Like...
Gotcha.
Like anything coming out afterwards.
Well, you heard it here first. This show ends when Cyberpunk comes out because I won't be able to pull Bo at.
It really does. Like I can be yelling from as I'm playing, or I can stream it. But yeah, the show is going to take a very big change after April 16th.
All right. Well, I can say that I have not really been following games a whole lot for 2020 releases. That said, I would say probably my most anticipated, as tentatively, as skeptical and nervous as I am about it, is Square Enix's Avengers game. Because I've liked the footage I've seen of the actual game, because with the caveat that every bit of footage I've seen has the little, this is pre-alpha in the bottom left corner. But my biggest fear ever since we first saw gameplay at, I think it was E3, right?
I think so.
Is that they said pre-alpha. Also, the game comes out in less than a year.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, well, when is beta gameplay gonna be shown? When is like damn near complete. Like, I just, it looks, in concept, I'm really excited for it. Even as a game that's going to be a live service, it doesn't seem like it's going to be like, pay for loot boxes or pay for like new maps. Like, it's going to be like story content and characters, like actual meaty content.
I don't know, because they have there's like menu screen is literally Destiny's. Like, it looks like it's about to be like a cosmetic grind.
Yeah, but they've specifically said that they will be adding characters over time. Like, so, and even then, this is just a biased thing, but if you give me a superhero game, like a Marvel game, a DC game or whatever, and all you add is costumes, like, I'm cool with it. Like, I love, like, the cosmetic stuff matters more to me when it's like, you know, like, one of the things I love about Spider-Man is all the different suits you can wear. One of the things I love about like the Arkham games is the fact that you have all these different characters.
Because it's superior than the Superman or Spider-Man.
Yeah, well, you fucked that up.
I did fuck it up. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's...
All right, there we go. But yeah, as far as the actual, like... I'm just excited for an Avengers game that's, like, AAA and has a lot of playable characters that all feel different. Like, the actual story, I'm not that excited for. The actual, like I don't know. Like, the stuff that they're promoting is not what I'm excited for about it, and that's what makes me nervous. But I want to focus on my most anticipated things in this episode. So just to give credit where I think credit is due, the fact that they are like committing to doing like a full-on like AAA Avengers game that's gonna have like a high budget, you know, be faithful to the characters in their gameplay. Like, I liked Ultimate Alliance a lot, but it was a smaller game.
Like, we're about to get Square Enix presentation.
Yeah, we're about to get like a full-on like real cinematic kind of experience with this game, which is exactly what I liked about Spider-Man PS4, because we had gotten really good Spider-Man games in the past, but none of them had been given the same chance at standing out the way Spider-Man PS4 did. Yeah. So like, in that sense, I'm looking forward to it, because if it's good, it will be, you know, considered amongst like Arkham and Spider-Man in the sense of like true proper AAA, not based on a movie type games, you know.
No,
not
yeah,
just
you bring
like,
up a good point.
Not in the same vein as like the typical licensed game. So
no, yeah, exactly. Like the Spider-Man games before that, they really did feel just like, not necessarily this is a game first that is about Spider-Man. It's more just like, hey, you know, it's a Spider-Man plushie, a Spider-Man fucking pajamas in the Spider-Man game. You get it for the kid that likes Spider-Man. He doesn't care because it's Spider-Man. Whereas
exactly. And that worked on me. I didn't care because it was Spider-Man. So
yeah, and like honestly, to the game's credit, like Web of Darkness, I think was like the last one I played.
Web of Shadows.
Web of Shadows. I really liked it. Like, I liked the older Spider-Man games, but like we haven't even. I'm trying to think. We haven't really had like even one of those level games for the Avengers. Like Ultimate Alliance, I feel like is in that weird in between.
Yeah, for sure.
Like it's not necessarily AAA, but like AA. Like.
Yeah, I mean, Ultimate Alliance 3 was a lot of fun. I enjoyed the hell out of it while I was playing it, and I still play it a bit now. But, like, it was just, like, it's hard to describe because I don't want it to sound like I only value games that have, like, realistic graphics and, like, all that kind of shit. But Ultimate Alliance 3 felt a little... Bare bones isn't even fair because there is a lot of characters in it, but just there wasn't that, like, polish on it.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like Brain Dead is like, like I didn't really.
Sounds harsh, but it's like you can play as any four characters, and it's just a beat 'em up. Yeah, it's
like there were a lot of stats, and I was all excited when I saw that initial like branch of all the skills or whatever. I'm like, oh my god, it was just increase your health by 0.5, increase your health by 0.5. Yeah, it's just like you do this to stay leveled, but you know. Speaking of like
the gameplay's kind of
random, like RPG-ish mechanics during Brain Dead, like. So Final Fantasy VII Remake, I'm kind of really excited about. Like, out of the two Square Enix properties, Avengers is not a Square Enix property, but like, you know what I'm trying to say. Out of the two Square Enix games slated for next year, like, I'm a little more hyped for Final Fantasy, like, just because.
Yeah, I'm really
one, like, mostly to see if it succeeds in whatever it's trying to do. Like, it's mostly the ambition aspect of it. Like, you can't recreate the greatest game of all time and like not have it be at least fucking amazing. Like, you can't.
I have no faith in it whatsoever. I have no excitement or faith in it. I'm just like, they've been saying they were gonna do it for so long, and like I'm sure if it's good, like it'll be worth playing, and it'll get good reviews, but I just like, it's the same way I felt with Kingdom Hearts 3. It's just like, you burned me out through all the years of like announcing it and saying it was in development and showing absolutely nothing. So honestly, like, I've felt very fuck you Square Enix for a while, and that they've got me on the Avengers thing because it's Marvel. Like they've hooked me in that sense, but like I don't know, like you should have done more earlier to convince me, or just fucking waited and not announced a game so far in advance and then like strung us along for so long. I don't care. I'm sorry. I just like, I wish I could give it more energy, but I just don't think I'll end up playing it. And I'm sure it'll be good, but I Kingdom Hearts is one of my favorite series, and I still haven't played Kingdom Hearts 3. So,
Did you see that they add? Oh, I mean, never mind. I forgot. I know. Have you seen the DLC trailers?
Yeah, I heard about that. I mean, that's cool, but again, fuck you, Square.
I mean, like whatever.
you scorned me for so long. Yeah.
I'm honestly surprised at that because when I first saw the like Kyrie is playable or whatever, I got hyped for you.
It's
like,
cool, but they've done so much to ruin it for me that I just like I will play it eventually. I will. Like I still love Kingdom Hearts, but yeah. All right, I want to talk about movies because we've been going for a bit now, and I don't want to completely miss out because there's a lot of fucking movies to be excited for. But also, as I look at the list of movies that are coming out next year, it's very different from this year. Like this year, there was like Endgame and Star Wars and like a lot of indie movies that I was looking forward to. But it's hard to put indie movies in your most anticipated list because it's hard to know those movies exist until like they start getting reviews and whatnot. But just looking at the blockbusters at least that are coming out next year, there's only 2 Marvel movies. There's which is still, there's 2 Marvel movies. Like I'm excited for them, but it's not like last year where there was Avengers and Spider-Man and Captain Marvel, who's a new IP. Like or not new IP, but new character to the MCU. Like next year it's going to be Black Widow, which is a movie that I'm looking forward to, but it's been long overdue, and it's almost like a Kingdom Hearts 3 situation where I'm like, you should have done it earlier, because now it's like you can only get so hyped before it starts to just fall off, and that's kind of how I feel about Black Widow. And Eternals I'm really looking forward to, but I know nothing, so it's hard to get like
I'm
that hype
only
for it.
excited because I know it's Marvel, or Marvel.
Yeah, and the cast is incredible, but I'm actually, we talked a lot about Wonder Woman at the start, so we won't get into it again. But just in general, I'm more excited for DC movie wise in 2020 because not only are we getting Wonder Woman, but Birds of Prey. I don't know if it's going to be good, but it's going to be rated R. It looks like it's going to be pretty different from stuff we've gotten in the past, and it's got a ridiculous title, which I don't really know how I feel about it. But I'm looking forward to Birds of Prey and the fantabulous emancipation of one Harley Quinn, which that is the last time I will say that entire title.
My thing is, every time I hear it, I'm just like, I love the fact that it's so extra. Yeah, but I also don't want to commit the memory to like I waited for you to finish the goddamn title because I'm just like, no, it's Harley Quinn and the mega fantastic extra times it, Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, like
Birds of Prey and the unexpected virtue of ignorance. But yeah, and I'm looking forward to this because obviously Margot Robbie was the the thing worth taking away from Suicide Squad, and the fact that they're giving her whole movie just kind of feels like it's worth it. I was very against Harley Quinn for a long time because I felt like she was used so often just to pander to male fans. And I feel like in the last couple of years that's transitioned, and they've started using her to appeal to like women. And I'm not like one of those. I'm not a woman, but I can appreciate what they're doing with it, and the fact that it's not just this like Harley Quinn is sexy and that's the selling point, I think makes it look a lot better than it could have been.
I mean, they gave her goddamn hammer this time.
Yes, and even the fucking trailers for Suicide Squad just were kind of egregious with the way they showed off Harley Quinn, and these Birds of Prey trailers are just doing a lot better. Plus, Ewan McGregor as the villain, as Black Mask, sounds awesome, and it just seems like tonally it's going to be very different. Plus, the fact that it's rated R, that's pretty fucking cool. Like, I had no idea. Like, from the trailer, I would not have guessed.
I don't know. I forgot the Black Mask was even in this. The more I think about it, because also I need to watch that. It's not next year because it's out now, but the Harley Quinn show on. Right. I keep seeing clips of that on Twitter. Like I'm now hyped. It
looks hilarious.
That looks great. If it's anything like that, then I'm hyped. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I think they're kind of. It's kind of like got a Deadpool style tone, which I think is a really cool approach to take for a cartoon on a streaming service that needs more unique stuff to really sell itself, I think. I
mean, I feel like DC has always done a really great job. I mean, yes, they've done a really great job of animation. Not trying to completely derail us into DC animation and animated movies, because I could talk about that forever. But I mean, going back to Black Widow, when I saw that trailer, I woke up, saw that it was out, got hype, watched the trailer, and I was like, all right, and just went on. Like I
feel that.
Like,
it seems like a weird movie to start Phase 4 with.
Cause she's dead. Like it's I just want to talk about it. Like, genuinely, if she was not dead canonically, and they were just like, okay, so this still is in the exact same time slot as it would give me more. Like, I've seen. I don't know if this is true or not. I have no idea. But I keep hearing people talk about, like, oh, fucking, they're gonna have Tony Stark in here because he's still alive, and they. They had.
But I've heard that, but I've also heard it might just be footage that they didn't use from Civil War. So it's
that's my thing. Either way, if it's not going to feed into the future narrative of Marvel, just Marvel in general. I can't even say, is it cinematic still if it's on TV? Because it's not technically cinema. I guess. I don't know. I don't know.
It's Marvel Studios doing all of it. Yeah. Speaking of which, I am thoroughly hyped for Falcon and Winter Soldier. Not just for the fact that I love those characters. Like, Falcon, I think, is one of the most underrated characters in the movies. And the fact that it's going to deal with the legacy of Captain America, who is my favorite MCU Avenger, specifically in the movies, not counting comic books. But after The Mandalorian, like, the seeing what they're doing with these Disney Plus shows, the idea of them doing like 10 of them for the MCU has just got me like unreasonably excited.
And did you see Kevin Feige talking about, Scarlet Witch is like the most powerful fucking, like
I would love to. I really wish WandaVision were coming out next year too. It's a bummer to me that we're only getting the one, because 2021 is a little too stacked, I think, with the amount of stuff they're putting out. But I mean, if WandaVision were in next year, it would easily be up there as well. But yeah, yeah, I mean, they have one of the guys who worked on John Wick working on Falcon and Winter Soldier, so the action's going to be sick. And yeah, like it's kind of a little annoying for me, because I want to be really hyped for Black Widow as like, oh, this is going to be like gritty Bourne in the MCU, but I feel like Falcon and Winter Soldier is going to have a lot of that too, and it's like with characters that I care a little bit more about, and characters that have a future in the franchise, you know what I mean?
And a metal arm.
And a metal arm. Yeah, but another interesting Marvel movie that I'm excited for, but I don't even know if it's going to come out, is the New Mutants, because they revealed the trailer for this in fall of 2017. It was going to be released on April 13th, 2018.
My birthday.
Bo's birthday, but it was delayed to February of 2019. Then it was delayed again. It was delayed again to August of 2019. And then it was delayed again to April of 2020.
Maybe my birthday.
And during that time, now keep in mind, this was a Fox X-Men movie, like a spinoff of the Fox X-Men series, and it was considered that it was going to be the last of those. But so was Dark Phoenix, and Dark Phoenix came out. Disney bought Fox, and meaning that Marvel now has control over all the X-Men stuff again. Yet they haven't canceled this movie. People think they will, and yet they've maintained this new April 2020 release date, which is now coming up. Like it's within 4 months now.
April is going to happen.
Yeah. Whether or not this movie happens, I don't know. But if it does happen, the idea of a X-Men superhero-based horror movie. Really cool idea.
With
Maisie
Arya
Williams
Stark?
is in it. Yeah, exactly. And Charlie Heaton from Stranger Things, you know, like he's already done kind of fantastic
he can scream.
genre-based horror stuff. Like, yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to it if it exists. I don't know if it's going to exist. They might put it out on Disney Plus or Hulu or something, but I don't know. I think more than I'm looking forward to New Mutants, I'm just looking forward to like a month before New Mutants is supposed to come out. Like, are we gonna have a new trailer? Are they gonna have postponed? Like, what the fuck?
Just,
like, I feel like we should.
It's
know
gonna be a video.
By now.
It's gonna be a video of Bob Iger over a laptop where if he presses enter, it'll just get released. And he'll be like, "Fucking here!" and then slam the enter key. And
exactly.
He's gonna have Maisie Williams call him drunk in the middle of the night and be like, "Hey, can you release my thing, please? And also put me in the MCU."
I mean, that's the thing. It just like it seems like they would kind of want to bury it because they want to reboot the X-Men in the MCU, but they haven't. We'll see. We'll see. We'll fucking see.
What if they just release it as an episode of WandaVision?
That'd be cool. That'd be cool. But speaking of not MCU Marvel projects that I'm not really looking forward to, but I'm curious about, fucking Morbius, because. Venom 2 is also coming out next year, and I didn't like Venom 1, but Andy Serkis is directing Venom 2, so I'm curious because I love that man and everything he does. But Morbius is Morbius, the living vampire. It's not fair to say obscure because if you're a Spider-Man fan, like he is. But, like, yeah, to the general public, he's a very obscure character.
Yeah.
And even amongst the Spider-Man pantheon, like, he's not an A-list Spider-Man villain. The fact that they're giving him a standalone movie with Jared Leto, who's not got the best track record in superhero movies, let alone in general. Like, yes, he's won an Oscar, but he's also just a weird dude who's probably done some fucked up shit. Look into it. There's plenty of bad things. There's plenty of bad things out there about him. But that's all I'm saying. Like, it just seems a weird thing to hang a franchise on a guy who does like one movie every 5 years and also like.
Yeah, but one of them could be Dallas Buyers Club, Morbius Buyers Club. We could
Morbius Buyers Club. Maybe he'll fucking win an Oscar. Maybe this is the Joker of next year. Who fucking knows? But I'm so curious to see I really thought when they announced Venom that it was never actually going to come out, and then it did, and it made almost $1 billion.
True.
So who fucking knows? Morbius could be a massive hit.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah,
every time it comes up, I keep thinking like, oh, this is one of those like jokes. This is one of those inside jokes from like a media side, and then I see someone else pick it up, and I'm like, oh wait, no, this is legit. This is actually happening.
This is real. This is fucking happening.
Maybe this is maybe happening. We don't know.
But speaking of other comic book media stuff, and then we can get into some other movies and TV shows. We are getting a Snowpiercer TV show, which is cool because the movie was dope, and Bong Joon-ho, who also did Parasite, which is like getting rave reviews. He is executive producing the show, and he did the Snowpiercer movie. So it's cool to know that he's involved. And it's got Daveed Diggs and Jennifer Connelly in the cast, who are two great actors. So I'm very curious about that. Stargirl is coming to both HBO Max and CW, or it might be DC Universe and CW. But either way, it was part of that initial slate of DC Universe shows they announced. And I'm not probably going to watch it, but I think it's interesting how DC Universe has suddenly started to like, I don't think it's fair to say collapse because there's a lot of good content on there, but they're no longer releasing stuff exclusively on there. Like, it clearly didn't work as its own thing anymore. Like, I'm sure it'll remain, because the main thing is you can get comics. So if you're a diehard DC fan, it's probably worth your money. But now the fact that we'll now be able to watch this show on CW if we want to,
like for the general, hey, you guys like our ass movies? Oh no, okay.
Well, like that's the thing for the future of the DC streaming service. It'll be interesting to see how Stargirl does. We're also getting a show based on Y: The Last Man, which I haven't read, but I heard is amazing. And I am also very excited for the final season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Anyone who has stuck with that show through to this point knows how good it has become and how much it is now working as a standalone thing, because it's really not tied to the MCU at all anymore, which is fine because they have enough of their own characters, but it's just they've completely moved on, and I'm excited to see how it ends. I'm sad it is ending, but it had to happen eventually. So yeah, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. final season. Excited for that. Also,
RIP.
The Kingsman, the Kingsman prequel got delayed. It was going to come out.
Hit my mic.
Yep. It got delayed till September, which I'm bummed about because I really like that series, but it was going to come out on the same day as Sonic the Hedgehog, so maybe that's why they delayed it.
They're scared.
Speaking of which, are you actually excited for Sonic the Hedgehog?
I'm gonna see it. It doesn't matter if I'm excited or not. I'm gonna see it.
Yeah.
Like, because I still don't know.
Yeah.
I personally, I don't know. Because there is, I did play a lot of Sonic as a kid.
It looks like the Smurfs movie with Neil Patrick Harris. Like, it looks like that kind of, like, live action meets CG. But also, it's got Jim Carrey in it, so that could be good.
It's got Jim Carrey.
The redesign does look good, although I much would have preferred watching Nightmare Sonic version, to be honest.
I'm now under the firm belief that there was never going to be a Nightmare Sonic. I think, like, I saw...
No, dude, that's I don't know. Like,
I'm just saying,
I've heard that, but
the internet has been giving Sonic so like that they don't need to really, like, they could have just dropped the promo images and then never released a new trailer, and like we would still be talking about it just as much. I think, like, I feel like it makes more sense to pay someone to design a shitty looking fake trailer than to design an entire shitty looking movie and then pay them to crunch, because and the reports afterwards were like, yeah, the artists were not like like their work conditions weren't horrible, so either work conditions were horrible and the internet bullied a bunch of people into not spending time with their kids, or like I don't know, as a marketing major I think it's brilliant either way, but like I mean, not
well, that's the thing. I think it worked because I am probably only seeing this movie because of all the craziness surrounding Sonic's design, and in that sense, it worked. And good on whoever intentionally or unintentionally made that happen. So, like, you're gonna get more people in butts and seats. And I was joking, but I do genuinely think they delayed Kingsman partially because of Sonic, like, because. I mean, regardless of whether Kingsman is going to be a better movie or not, which I think it probably will be, there were a lot more people talking about Sonic the Hedgehog than
I didn't know
the Kingsman prequel. Yeah.
Yeah, I had no idea.
I mean, I love Matthew Vaughn, so I'll watch whatever he does, and he clearly has a love for that franchise. But yeah, Sonic, it could be something.
I think we could go to Green Hill Zone after. Maybe Knuckles shows up. Maybe they play the original, like, dude.
What if Knuckles
why did I just start singing the F-Zero theme song? Hold on. I need it. Yeah. What if in the Sonic movie Captain Falcon comes in and then it just becomes a Smash Bros. Movie?
Well, this is the next step towards the Smash Bros. Movie. But real quick, I want to say I think it would be hilarious if in this movie Knuckles and Tails were all going to be there from the beginning, but they never redesigned them. They only redesigned Sonic.
Oh,
no. So halfway through the movie, Knuckles shows up and he's just horrific. And everyone is just like, I thought we were safe. I thought we were safe. Oh, that would be great.
And they like try to make it like trendy, and his knuckles are just knives coming out of his fist, but it's like
it's just Hugh Jackman in red.
It's Hugh Jackman with the cat's makeup, like the cat's CG.
But as
in red. Okay. God.
Any movies for you that stick out? I've got a few more, but I don't want to dominate this part of the conversation too much.
No, I mean, Free Guy. Like, I saw the trailer yesterday or whatever the fuck it came out. That looks fantastic. That looks so good.
It's an original IP too. So
original IP, probably the first good video game movie ever. I mean, I hope. Like I
mean, if it counts as much as something like Wreck-It Ralph does, and Wreck-It Ralph was good, so I don't know.
Wreck-It Ralph is good. Yeah.
I in that sense, I wouldn't give Free Guy credit, but yeah.
I mean, I want to give like for me. I mean, okay, honestly, I've seen a lot of talk about how The Mandalorian should be like it's structured like a video game.
Yes.
And if someone said, "Oh, The Mandalorian is the best like video game show," I would give it to it. So like in terms of as long as they nail the feel of it, like that's what I'm looking for. Like it looks like like to me the little subtle humor that I've seen just with Ryan Reynolds walking and like not really like to me it seems like it's not going to be cringy the same way that like Ready Player One seemed like, yeah, we play video games, but we have no idea what the fuck you kids are playing, so we're just gonna like do our own thing. Like this is gonna be, you know, like this seems like it feels more welcoming. Like I don't think I'm gonna cringe. I'm not gonna see also, like dad jokes and stuff like that.
Isn't it interesting that Ryan Reynolds is apparently ushering in this new era of video game movies between this and Detective Pikachu?
I'm okay with it.
Yeah,
I'm totally okay with it. Let him.
It just
ride
seems
the
so
wave.
weird to me, like. But I'm down for it. And speaking of video game movies, we are getting a Monster Hunter movie.
I'm
directed
not
by the
at all
guy who
excited
did the
for
Resident
this.
Evil movies.
Not at all excited for this, but I'll be there day one. Oh, I'll be there day one,
Yeah.
and if they don't let me in with a giant sword, then that's on the movie theater.
I think it'll be hilarious one way or the other, but it probably will be bad.
My thing is, if I walk in and it's like an hour and a half, if I get 10 minutes of action, like 10 minutes of them fighting a fucking Anjanath, like, and it looks good. Like, if I just need 10 minutes of adrenaline, the rest of the movie could be a garbage fire. I don't care. Just give me 10 minutes. Like Power Rangers, whatever, 2016, I think. Like, that movie was not great, but then you got the shot of all the Zords riding out with the Power Rangers in the theme song, or Power Rangers theme song playing in the background. To me, that was worth it. As long as I get one of those moments, I'll be okay with Monster Hunter. A movie that I think is going to incorporate a lot of, like, really good monster fighting, though, that I am way more excited about. Fucking Godzilla versus Kong. Like, I'm gonna let you take over because you have done most of the research on this. I've tried to stay as blind on this movie as possible.
Right. Well, there's not much to go off of in the sense that there hasn't been a trailer, and there's like one screenshot that's been going around on Twitter today. I think it was because Warner Brothers did a sizzle reel of their upcoming stuff, and in it there's a single shot of Kong winding up a punch for Godzilla, and it looks as blurry as I've seen it. It still looks awesome, and I'm very excited. That said, this movie was going to come out in March, and it got delayed till November. That also said, I'm not upset about that because these are very effects-heavy movies, and more time just means better effects. So, also, it wouldn't shock me that Godzilla King of the Monsters, last year's Monsterverse, or this year, because it's still 2019's, Monsterverse.
Oh my god, it was this year.
Was good in terms of monster fights, all the stuff you expect from a Godzilla movie, but I personally was a little let down by it. So if this is also a way of them kind of maybe hearing the response to that movie and ironing out some of the issues in the script, then good too. So normally delays can be scary, but in this case, I'm taking it as a net positive. And yeah, I am thoroughly excited for this movie. I am unbelievably excited for this movie. Just I thought Kong Skull Island was a really cool movie, better than I thought it would be, and I really love the first Godzilla of this current American reboot series. And again, King of the Monsters was probably my least favorite of those three in this Monsterverse, but it still had a lot of fan service for a Godzilla fan. So the fact that we're getting a proper, massively budgeted Godzilla vs. Kong, and I'm already satisfied with the really low budget, really bad dated special effects Godzilla vs. King Kong from the 60s that is so bad, but hilariously
I am
bad.
not, so I'm very excited for this.
So anyway, yeah, it looks like it's gonna at least give us something worth watching in the movie theater.
I mean, how are you feeling about Bond?
I'm looking forward to it. The trailer was good. I did not
that sounds confident.
But that's the thing. I didn't like Spectre, the last one, and this very much looks like a sequel to Spectre. So I'm just kind of like, all right, I'm going in with base level, give me fun Bond, and Lashana Lynch looks cool, and Phoebe Waller-Bridge, who is one of the most talented people right now. Fleabag is amazing. The fact that she did rewrites on No Time to Die is definitely made me more excited for it.
Cool.
Yeah, so I don't really have a lot to say about it. I'm a Bond fan, but I didn't like the last one, and Skyfall to me should have been Daniel Craig's last. It is by far his best, in my opinion, and it's my favorite Bond movie in general. So the fact that they followed up with something that was so disappointing to me, just, the two things balance out, and I'm just at a 5 for excitement. I'm not excited, but I'm also not. I'm not as excited as I am for Godzilla versus Kong or for the Marvel movies or the DC movies. I'm going to see it, without a doubt. I will see it opening weekend, and I hope it's good. You know, I like Daniel Craig's Bond, but I hope he's acting a bit more than he was in the last one. But yeah, I'm more excited, honestly, for Mulan, which I also put on here. The trailer also came out for that this week, and as far as Disney live-action remakes go, some of them have been good, some of them have been bad, most of them I haven't seen, but Mulan looks like it's actually doing something very different with it, and I'm all for it. Like, it looks awesome. It looks like it's shot beautifully. And like I'm in for like a big budget. Like, it looks like we're gonna get some cool like war scenes, which I really like. I love movies that do big field battles. I think those are awesome. So I'm really looking forward to that. Also, Ming-Na Wen, who is in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., was the original voice of Mulan, and I need to check, but I'm gonna assume she's gonna have some sort of part in this new one, which I really hope so. She wasn't in any of the trailers, but it'd be dumb if they don't include her. So I hope she does show up. She was also in the last episode of Mandalorian, I think, which again I haven't seen yet, but yeah. So I hope that's good. And going off of Disney, we're getting 2 new Pixar movies that are original IPs, so I'm looking forward to those, both Onward and Soul. And you know, I think
excited
Disney
for Onward.
Yeah,
it looks pretty good. I mean, just because they've only released the one trailer for it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
and they showed some stuff at D23 that got a lot of good reception. And that's the thing. Pixar's track record is not what it was like 10 years ago, but their original movies have been still pretty much stellar across the board. Like, Inside Out was fantastic. So I'm looking forward to something that isn't a sequel, because the sequels are hit or miss. You know, we get Toy Story 3s, but we also get... Well, Finding Dory and Incredibles 2 were massive successes, but I was thoroughly underwhelmed.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
They happened.
And I'm also very curious about Dune, because it's got a really good cast, and I'm also very curious about Uncharted, because Tom Holland is in it, and that's cool. I like the idea of them not adapting the story of the games. I like the idea of them doing something original, but they also have Mark Wahlberg as Sully, and I think that's horrible casting.
I don't think it's happening. I really don't.
They've been talking
about it. They've been talking about it for so long, and really all it takes is fucking Tom Holland to get like a teensy bit more busy. Do you know if they've shot anything yet? Like,
no idea.
And like,
no idea. And it's supposed to come out at the end of the year, so yeah. Yeah, maybe not.
I just,
all right.
I don't know.
I'm not going to put a lot of faith into that, I guess. That's a good point.
I mean, I don't know. Like, I want a good, like, just video game movie. Like, I was trying to, blur the lines with Free Guy, but I just, I would like just, I would like the Uncharted movie to be good. I'm not a huge fan of the games, but also, I don't care. Like, huge win for the Uncharted fans if this gets good. I want it to be good. I want it to be good. I want it to be good. I'm going to keep saying that until it's good.
I have some faith for the fact that Detective Pikachu, I felt, was like far from a perfect movie, but in terms of a Hollywood Pokemon movie, like, it pushed all the buttons I wanted it to. And the director of Uncharted is Travis Knight, who did Kubo and the Two Strings, which is a really cool animated movie, and he also worked on all the other movies from that studio, so like Coraline, Paranorman, Box Trolls, those are all like really beloved movies. But his first live action movie was Bumblebee, and that movie was sick. That was like the best Transformers movie by far, and it was very faithful to the Transformers lore. Whether or not he's able to have the freedom that he should have to do that with Uncharted, I don't know, because like you said, it's had so much behind the scenes issue that at this point it's probably just the Sony being like, look, we own this, we want it to be good, but we need it to come out. So
we made the video game like a movie so we could make a movie about the video game. Like, this is
and it
the
just
whole
seems
point.
Like they're forcing it so much that I'm a little afraid in that sense. But Travis Knight is a good director, so fingers crossed for that.
I have nothing against him. I'm just I've heard about the Uncharted back when fucking Uncharted like 2 was coming out, I think. I don't know. Like, I just feel like I've heard about the Uncharted movie being in development for a while. Like, I remember hearing about the Uncharted movie before the Tomb Raider movie was even talked about, and then that happened. Yeah. And now we're here. Like, I don't know.
And that's getting a sequel. I don't think it's next year, but that is getting a sequel.
And I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I mean, good for them. I want like Tomb Raider makes sense as a movie series, and I like Alicia Vikander. So
yeah,
collect that check, girl.
I was gonna say, as much as I didn't
checks,
check collecting.
I was gonna say, ThunderCats Roar.
Oh yeah, ThunderCats Roar.
Please explain why I used collect a check as a.
So I represent
a transitional point.
I represent the voice of Panthro in ThunderCats Roar. Chris J.
Man,
Alex.
I'm sorry I made that so awkward for you.
No, because I honestly, I was still looking at the movies and just like, is there some kind of like robbery movie coming out next year that I don't see on here? Like Fast 9? Are you trying to like talk about Fast
9 will make a lot of money.
Yeah,
but
I mean, my thing was like theft. Like when you said
apparently
collect the check, I was like, okay,
considering
like,
CGI
what on
Paul
here
Walker
applies to
for
collect
Fast
the check?
9.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I've heard that they're like considering bringing him back, like with his brothers playing him, like they did in Fast 7. But like, yeah,
dead people stay dead.
Yeah, it makes me uncomfortable. But yeah.
I don't know.
Anyway, ThunderCats Roar. You represent Panthro. That's cool. You should support
and like
that because you want to support Bo.
I mean, not just that. It does actually look like cool animation. Like the animation style from what I've seen so far, it does look fun. Like I have no attachment to the original ThunderCats, so like I would go into this completely blind. But like the way everything like kind of whooshes together. Like this is like he doesn't tell me about the production of the show. Right? I have no insider knowledge. I just know that he's the voice on the show. But it looks fun.
Speaking of children's animation, we already mentioned Star Wars Clone Wars, but we're getting a new season of that. Also, I'm a huge Muppets fan, as I said earlier when we were talking about Caroll Spinney, and they're doing a new Disney Plus Muppets show, which is going to be like improvised, so that'll be interesting.
Wait, what? I didn't know that.
Yeah, they were originally going to do like a new Muppet Show style thing, where it was like a scripted kind of sitcom thing, and Josh Gad was leading that, but that got canceled. So, but they're still doing Muppets Live, which is going to be a like improvised Muppets sketch show. So it'll be interesting to see. I'm always fascinated by that.
Yeah, that sounds interesting.
I'm a huge fan of the characters, but specifically the way they like. I feel like the whole like the Muppets and like Dark Crystal and all that kind of like puppeteering is always just like, how do we put the most work into doing this story the most difficult way? Like, how do you make a sketch show the hardest thing to produce? You have it be puppets on a set where everything's like 5 feet below the camera, and like you have to hide all this shit
and now make it up as you go along.
Yeah, exactly. So
like
I am fascinated to see how they do that.
Like you sold me purely on the improv aspect, because I've improv aspect. I'm going to finish that word. I've not really gravitated toward like Muppets or Sesame Street, like just the puppeteering in general. But like, I mean, for one thing, mostly because like I'm always taken out of it because I'm just like I can't pay attention to what the fuck Kermit is saying because I'm so concerned about what the fuck the arm. Like, are you okay? Like, are you good? Like, do you need
do you need some water?
Yeah, exactly. Like, just is it hot down there? Like, is there an air conditioning? I don't know. But like I don't know. Just I feel like it'll help me, like hearing them have fun with it. I guess. Hopefully, I hope they enjoy it. Shit. But like being able to know that like it's not all like rehearsed. Like having that free flowing fun aspect of it. You kind of sold me. Like maybe this is how I get into Muppets finally. Like I feel like it's one of those nerdy things that I've gravitated around. I should have just jumped in.
I don't know if it's just something that I'm obsessed with because of childhood or whatever, but just rewatching Muppet stuff recently, especially now that there's a lot of it on Disney Plus, like I'm glad that it still has a place in 2020 pop culture. So I am looking forward to that. And also, speaking of reboots of classic stuff like that, we've also got Animaniacs coming back, and that is a fantastic show. And I'll just running through this quickly. Other returning shows, AP Bio, I know you're a huge fan of, and also Brooklyn Nine-Nine, 2 shows that were canceled and then saved by fan outcry. So shout out to the internet and its ability to get people to complain long enough for people to listen.
Yes.
Hashtag AP Bio, hashtag Brooklyn Nine-Nine, hashtag Sonic the Hedgehog, and hashtag Release the Snyder Cut.
Like Sonic, like Sonic, like Sonic, like Sonic!
Yeah, exactly. Shout out our boy Sammy, classic Sonic fan. Wherever you are, we wish you the best.
Being afraid of the urban youths.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, let's not talk about that.
That'll go over a lot of our audience's head. But yeah, we've covered most of what we have written down here. I'm sure there's a lot coming out next year that we haven't touched on. Before we wrap up, is there anything we haven't mentioned or just anything in particular you want to highlight?
Not really. I'm trying to think. I don't think so. Like 2020, I'm excited for the first half. Like I feel like Nintendo games. I mean, I know that we started with games, but like jumping back to games, like our list is like short for games, and that like makes me upset because I feel like the last few years we've had a lot of stuff to look forward to. Like to me, Cyberpunk is like Cyberpunk and Last of Us. They're two really, really, really big releases, but like I kind of we knew that Last of Us was going to come eventually. We knew that Cyberpunk was going to come eventually because they've been talking about it for years. Like I don't know. I'm excited for the Game Awards to see what they're gonna throw at us, and the Sony State of Play on Tuesday,
which will be before this episode comes out.
Yes, the State of Play is gonna happen before the episode comes out, and then the Game Awards is so we drop on Wednesday. State of Play is Tuesday, and then the Game Awards is on Thursday night.
Okay, so we're gonna be sandwiched right in the middle here. So there might be a few game things that we missed out on talking about, but we can always touch on it next week.
Being optimistic, next week's episode is about to be lit. Like we're about to have a lot to talk about.
Cross our fingers for that. Yeah,
knock on. This is wood. Here we go. Knock on it.
Cool. Yeah, I think 2020 is going to be interesting because last year there was a clear. I am most excited for Endgame. I am most excited for like Spider-Man or Red Dead 2. Like there were like really top things for me that I was looking forward to. This next year, there's a lot that I'm like really curious about. There's a lot that I'm very excited for, but I'm skeptical on. So everything's sort of floating in the middle there. So I'm looking forward to being surprised by something. Which, to end the episode, what do you think is like a major random surprise, something that we are not expecting that we could get in 2020? I gotta not talk political. Don't avoid it if it's relevant. But.
No, I was Civil War 2. No, fucking
yeah, Captain America: Civil War 2.
Exactly. I mean, honestly, I see. I don't know. Like Watchmen this year has been such a fucking like we knew it was happening, but the quality and I think the relevance. Like it's not just like. Oh, this is really good. It's like, this is really good because it came out right now. Like, it's, you know, I feel like we're going to have another one of those. Like, I feel like Joker this year was one of those. Right. This is not only, in my opinion, really good, but really good because it came out right now. Like, I feel like the trend of, and I'm not saying like on December or January 1st, someone's going to start development on something, and by the end of that year, it's going to be the most relevant thing. But just like, as... I don't know. Like I would not be at all surprised if the remake of Final Fantasy VII had a lot of fucking commentary on, you know, like because the first one was about like environmentalism and stuff like that. Like double down on it now. I don't know. Like Death Stranding, I did not touch on this at all, but they have a huge social aspect of it, and like there's a dedicated button to you shouting out like, "Hey, am I alone?" And then if players put down structures near you, they'll chime back at like themes pertinent to like that theme being like, you know, connectivity and like social media and shit like that, and you're doing everything for likes. Like I don't know, something super relevant to 2020, which is hard to nail down in 2019. But like I feel like I don't know. I guess that's not a prediction. So, shit's gonna be good in 2020. How about that? I don't fucking know.
Cool.
God.
Confidence is your prediction, or optimism is your prediction.
I predict I will not be any more decisive than I am right now.
Good. I think that's a very, very accurate prediction. I don't really have much else to add in terms of what I think we could get, because I really think what I'm most looking forward to in terms of things we're not 100% on is things that I don't think we're going to get in 2020. Like, but I think will be announced for 2021 and later. Like, we know that the Moon Knight, She-Hulk, and Miss Marvel are probably coming out 2021, 2022, but it's not like 100%. Kevin Feige said this past weekend that like they could be ready for 2021, but there's no hard release date announced. So we could see those then. It would be great to get a confirmation. I would also love to hear something about Deadpool 3. I think we are going to get that eventually. That could be something we hear about in 2020. Also, the Obi-Wan series on Disney Plus is probably not 2020, but it's going to be likely the next show that they make by Lucasfilm for Disney Plus for Star Wars. So it's likely we'll get a release date of that. So all those kind of things, like I want to know that those are coming. I want to know when, and we'll probably find out next year. So
and also, I just remembered the next gen consoles are coming out next year, holiday next year. Oh God, we totally skipped over that. Horizon Zero Dawn 2 is most likely going to be a PS5 launch game. I'd be very surprised if that didn't happen. Yeah, that's my definitive prediction.
We're gonna have to pencil that in for later. PS5, Xbox Scarlet or whatever. Like we are.
I mean, state of play.
Maybe a Switch Pro or something. Like we are gonna get some kind of major new gaming development in the next year, and I hope it is as hype as I want it to be. Yeah, maybe Spider-Man PS5 or Spider-Man 2 will be a launch title. That'd be cool.
I would not count that out. Like I could see that happening.
Especially because considering how successful and how hyped up the first one was, I would not be surprised if the day Spider-Man PS4 came out, they were like, all right, we're heading back on those computers. Let's start making the second one, if not earlier than that, honestly.
The early demos of PS5 used Spider-Man to show off how quick the load times are, because you could literally go from one end of the city to the next. Like really,
That's
really
awesome.
nice.
Yeah, I mean, and Spider-Man has, through this last game, become one of PlayStation's number one IPs, which is it's like fucking awesome. So
Kratos, Aloy, Spider-Man,
Spider-Man, exactly. So hopefully Nathan Drake too, dude. Come on, I know you don't play it.
He's a dude. He's just some dude.
Fucking Nathan Drake is more of a Sony mascot than fucking Aloy. All right.
Fuck you, man. He's just some dude. She is like a legend. Are you kidding me? She takes down Robo Dinosaur. I can do what Nathan Drake does.
Sure. All right. I will put you to that test. Tune in next week as I hang Bo off of a cliff from a dangling train, and we'll see how he holds on.
I'm saying I can't. Never mind.
All right. Look, 2020 is exciting. It's coming up. It's fucking crazy that this decade is ending. We're going to have a lot of recap type shows coming up in the next few weeks. We're going to talk about our favorite things of the decade, our favorite things of the year. We'll do loosely defined awards, which we also did last year, so that'll be fun. We'll give some shout-outs for great stuff that came out in 2019. So look forward to all that coming up. You can follow me at eWilshirePrime on the social medias. I'm also on YouTube. Just look my name up. There's also links for things in the description for all the things I do, and Bo as well.
Yes, you can follow me at Brother Grimm with 2 M's. Or Brother Grimm Bo. Jeez, I need to remember my fucking handle.
Get it? Fucking right.
I know. It's like I'm horrible at self. Brother Grimm Bo. Follow me there. Cool. Also follow us at Defined Loosely on the Twitters. Yep.
And at Loosely Defined on Instagram.
Indeed.
Time codes are in the description. Always tell your friends about that if they're worried that these episodes are too long. And we also have clip outs on YouTube, so look up Loosely Defined and Loosely Defined Universe on YouTube for full episodes and clip outs that are much more digestible than these nearly 2-hour episodes. So we appreciate you guys. We appreciate you guys sticking with us through all of it, though. Hope you enjoyed it, and until next time, #stay loose.
Stay loose.